snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys, so I am here today to do a little book haul, and today I'm going to be showing you guys some books that I was sent by a publisher. The publisher that I'm talking about is Angry Robot. They publish a lot of SFF works, and they were kind enough to send me a couple of their books that have come out fairly recently in order for me to read and review them, and I'm very excited to get to some of them because some of them sound very cool. So I'm just going to show you guys the 5 books that they sent me, and if you guys have any recommendation where to start out of those 5, then definitely leave me your thoughts in the comments. But I am really interested in all of them, so I'm going to show you guys the books and tell you a little bit about each one, and then you guys can let me know which one I should start with. So let's get started. So the first book that they sent me is The Shadowmaster. This is by Craig Cormick, and this one has a beautiful cover. I think we'll all agree it just is stunning. It seems like a kind of Roman architecture feeling in the bottom. Not sure if it's set in Rome or anything like that. On the back it says, "Under the shadows of the towering battlements of the walled city, sole bright spot in the land strangled by plague, 2 families vie for control. The Medicis with their genius inventor Leonardo, master of machines, and the Lorraines and their beloved Galileo, the most brilliant alchemist of his generation. But when the 2 star-crossed lovers, one from each household, threaten to undermine the status quo, a third player emerges from the shadows, sinister, deadly, unknown, and determined to seize ultimate control at any cost. Never before has the city encountered such a threat. The Medicis and Lorraines will need every new invention and dark power if these great families are to survive." So yeah, definitely seems to be set in Rome or Florence. Super excited about this. It's quite short, all of these are fairly similar length, and it just sounds really awesome. I love generally Italy in general, like I love the culture of Italy, so I'm really excited about it being set in Italy, and the cover's stunning, the book sounds cool, and I can't wait to dive into this at some point soon. The next book I have is VN, which I believe is by Madeline Ashby, and this one is the first in the Machine Dynasty, so I think this is a science fiction. On the back it simply says, "Amy Peterson is a von Neumann machine, a self-replicating humanoid robot. For the past 5 years, she has been grown slowly as part of a mixed organic synthetic family. She knows very little about her android mother's past, so when her grandmother arrives and attacks them, young Amy wastes no time. She eats her alive. Now she's on the run, carrying her malfunctioning granny as a partition on her memory drive. She's growing quickly and learning too, like the fact that in her, and her alone, the failsafe that stops all robots from harming humans has stopped working, which means that everyone wants a piece of her, some to use her as a weapon, others to destroy her." So, self-aware robots sounds pretty interesting to me. Science fiction, as you guys know, is something I'm trying to get into more recently, so I'm hoping that this one will be really good, and it's not too long, so hopefully it will be a nice kind of introduction into this potential series, which is the first Machine Dynasty. So yeah, hopefully this is a really interesting story, and let me know your thoughts on this one if you guys have read it or heard of it. Next I have The Lives of Tao by Wesley Chu, and on the front it says, "There's a hero inside of every one of us." On the back it says, "When out-of-shape IT technician Rowan wakes up and starts hearing voices in his head, he naturally assumes he's losing it. He isn't. As of last night, he has a passenger in his brain, an ancient alien life form called Tao, whose race crash-landed on Earth before the first fish crawled out of the oceans. Over the millennia, his people have trained human heroes to be great leaders, to advance our species at a rate far beyond what it would have achieved on its own. Split into 2 opposing factions, the peace-loving but underrepresented Prophus and the savage, powerful Genjix, the aliens have been in a state of civil war for centuries. Both sides are searching for a way off-planet, and the Genjix will sacrifice the entire human race if that's what it takes. So now Rowan must train to be a hero worthy of his unwanted companion. Like that's going to end up well." So, sounds a bit crazy, sounds kind of sci-fi. Really interesting. I love the cover of this one. It's yellow. I don't have enough yellow books. Really weird concept, but I like it, so looking forward to seeing how this one goes. The only other thing I've read that has kind of an alien in your brain is The Host by Stephanie Meyer, which I thought was alright, but I read it years ago, so it probably wouldn't live up to alright by today's standards. So I'm interested in getting into this one, and hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. Then I have another one that looks kind of fantasy-ish. This one is called Seven Forges, and it's by James A. Moore. On the back it says, "The people of Felon have lived with legends for many centuries. To their far north, the Blasted Land, a legacy of an ancient time of cataclysm, are vast, desolate and impassable, but that doesn't stop the occasional expedition into their fringes in search of any trace of the ancients who once lived there, and oft-rumoured riches. Captain Meros Dover is the first in many lifetimes to find a path beyond the great northern mountains known as the Seven Forges, and encounter at last a half-forgotten race who lived there. It would appear that they were expecting him, but all of the gods of this lost race are the gods of war, and their memories of that far-off cataclysm have not faded." I love a good kind of ice-based story. I don't read enough fantasies that have an icy, Arctic sort of element to them, and this one sounds like it's going to. And yeah, it's just something I really find interesting, especially like clans and tribes that are cut off from society. That's another thing that I personally find really interesting, so I'm hoping that this one will be a lot of fun as well. And then the final one that they were kind enough to send me was Hangwire by Adam Christopher, and this one on the back says, "Ted Hall is worried. He's been sleepwalking, and his somnambulant travels appear to coincide with murders by the notorious Hangwire killer. Meanwhile, the circus has come to town, but the Celtic dancers are taking their pagan act a little too seriously. The manager of Old World Funfair has started talking to his vintage machines, and the new acrobat's frequent absences are causing tension among the performers. Out in the city, there are other new arrivals, immortals searching for an ancient power, a primal evil which, if unopposed, could destroy the world." So this one sounds kind of maybe a little bit crime. It says on the back that it's urban fantasy, so maybe crime/urban fantasy. Sounds pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. Don't read enough urban fantasy really, because I've barely read any urban fantasy, so I think this one will be a nice addition to my very, very small urban fantasy repertoire, which mostly consists of the Dresden Files right now, and that's about it. So if you guys have any other recommendations of either angry robot books that you think are really, really good and worth reading, or just general urban fantasy books that you think are really good and worth reading, please do leave them in the comments below so that I will be able to look up your recommendations, because I definitely want to read more urban fantasy, but I've not got into it massively yet, and I don't really know where to begin, so any suggestions are always welcome. So thank you once again to Angry Robot for sending me these 5 wonderful books. I cannot wait to get to them. They all sound really, really interesting in their own way, and hopefully I'll get to them really, really soon, and you'll see some of the reviews for these ones coming up on my channel at some point as well. As I said, let me know which one you guys want me to start with. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all very soon in another video. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little